for those of you who are regular listeners to this podcast and who know me personally, you may know that I'm a big fan of a franchise known as Dragon Ball. And for those of
Dragon Ball.
you who don't know about Dragon Ball is loosely based on a Chinese proverb fable novel called Journey to the West. And Goku in particular um, is a variation or is a parody, I guess, of Sun Wukong, who in Japanese is known as Son Goku or the Monkey King. Um, it's based on the Monkey
Homage.
King. It's an homage, and it is also based on the movie The Drunken Master. So I will be talking about both of those movies. Firstly, let us begin with Journey to the West. And Jordan, I want to ask you because I have to tell you about the Monkey King because the Monkey King is absurd. Like a thing I kind of discovered this week, like the Monkey King in terms of like China is kind of like like the Greek gods.
Yeah,
He's one of those, and like there's just certain things like in regards to mythology that I don't know how to quite put this. I'm hoping this makes sense. Wasn't meant to be like visualized in like a television movie kind of way. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Where it's like this
I
is
think
not
so.
meant to be visual. This is more meant to be something you think about, not something you see. And so
Yeah.
when you see it like literally play out on screen, it doesn't. Okay, so I want to begin this by well, we're going to start with Journey to the West. Jordan, what do you know about Journey of the West? Because I think this is going to be more fun.
I mean, I know that it's like a Monkey King. I know that he does have like a power pole. I know he has an equivalent to the cloud that Goku rides around on. Um, and I that's he goes on journeys.
So okay, so the actual story of Journey to the West. So I watched kind of two things related to Journey to the West. I watched there's an old 1990s cartoon that used to air on in Canada Teletoon.
In the mythical world of ancient China, a land of legendary monsters, evil witches, and sinister villains, the wise monk Tripitaka and his protector Monkey set out on a treacherous journey in search of the fabled Scrolls of Wisdom. Joined by Pigsy and Sandy, these four companions travel together through this strange and
That was dubbed by a Canadian dubbing company.
I
That
mean, yeah, we
is
know it's called Dragon Ball.
no, this is literally called Journey to the West. It's got voices you recognize from Canadian stuff. It's very funny. It's not very good. It's very cheap. It's way worse than I remember. I was like, I remember this being kind of good, and them giving him kind of a Goku feel, and it's not. It just kind of ends up playing out like weird, stilted preschool like level like um uh, preschool level ideas of morality, and every episode is split into two 11-minute shorts, kind of like Recess, and they all
Okay.
kind of like take the structure of Monkey is was walking along one day, and then he happens to run into this creature, and then they have a conflict, and then Monkey like wins in the end, and then he learns a lesson. And so there's one like the first episode, it's like Monkey runs into this dragon who he needs to convince, and they've got the horse, and the horses run off, and he can't find the horses. So then Monkey confronts the dragon, but then the dragon doesn't want, or dragon and Monkey have a fight, and then the goddess turns the dragon into a horse. So now the horse that Monkey rides on is now a dragon as well. And so
Okay, this sounds convoluted.
it is, yeah, and it's in a way that like you could see this being told in like a or like a mythology. You know what I mean? Like it's like a Greek mythology kind of
Yeah.
story. Yeah, that's what a lot of these episodes are like, where it's like, oh, these are clearly very old stories that are more meant to be
The,
like
not
metaphorical.
even yeah, not even necessarily old stories. It sounds more like a lot of them are old proverbs which have been turned into
Yeah.
stories.
And so what's interesting was so Journey to the West. So
Like a classic like one cannot chase the monkey when they are chasing the weasel instead,
right?
or something like that, which they've taken and turned into a
Right,
story.
exactly. And so Journey to the West is basically, you know, that first section of Dragon Ball where Bulma, they eventually run into Oolong and they're looking for the Dragon Balls.
Yeah.
The Journey to the West is there's a monk who is traveling to India to find like 7 or some odd scroll. And once again, I'm gonna butcher a lot of Chinese culture, and I'm gonna really do this kind of broadly, just because I'm bad with names, and I'm gonna mess up a lot of details. You can correct me in comments or in the chat if you want to at any point, and Jordan will yell out fact checking. Um, but
Come for him.
there's a monk who he's going to travel to India and get 7 scrolls of wisdom, and he frees the Monkey King, who's been trapped under a rock because of his defiance of the gods. Um, and he rescues him, and they go on the journey to the west. And Sun Wukong basically protects the monk. And eventually they pick up another cast of characters. They pick up a pig character, and then they pick up
So
a.
So real quick, isn't there a line in early Dragon Ball when Bulma first meets Goku, where and I'm pretty sure where she has a line which is something to the effect of, "Geez, kid, what have you been living under a rock?" Or maybe they're like maybe when he meets Ulan or something. Somebody says that to him at some
I
point, which
think
feels like it's supposed to be a callback to that.
I think Bulma does in the dub. I don't know if that might just be a dubism, but yeah, I'm pretty sure Bulma does in the dub. That's funny though. Um, and so then, then they pick up a pig character who is an who's Oolong, and then they pick up another character, a guy character who I'm guessing is the approximation of Yamcha.
Yamcha,
Um,
yeah.
and I didn't really, I only watched like the first 3 episodes, and it's basically like, each episode is the Monkey King runs into a conflict and he learns a lesson. Um, and yeah, he's
Like Dragon Ball.
like Dragon Ball. Yeah, and it's interesting because he's when you read about this character, he's a mythological character, and these are all based on like folk tales and whatnot. And all of these episodes are literal myths and folk tales, and it's like, oh yeah, no, this is they've been like crazy simplified because this is a show for children. And so the other thing I watched was there's a Netflix movie called The Monkey King.
Demons. One hero is the bravest, most epic, most spectacularific, amazing-ful. Wait a minute. Are you sure this is a word?
It's a word.
Most spectacularific. You know what? I'm not saying that.
Oh, man. Fine. I'll do it myself. Names? Monkey King.
And it's basically a prequel to the Journey to the West. It's basically the Monkey King has this whole backstory where he was like born from a rock, and he's like a regular monkey, and the staff, he has the America,
Yeah,
the
the
power
Power
pole.
Pole.
He basically steals it inadvertently from this the king of dragons, or the king of serpents, I think is what he is, who wants to use it to like destroy the world, and he steals it, and he uses it to be a demon king, a demon, because he wants to become an immortal and go and get to heaven. Like, what's interesting about this week was I learned a lot about Chinese mythology, and I discovered I knew more about it than I realized. So, like, a big thing in Chinese mythology is the idea of the 8 immortals, which we know from we were both gonna try to watch it this week, but we didn't get a chance to. But you remember in Jackie Chan Adventures?
Yeah, how there's all the different dragons.
Yeah, and who are all banished by a different warrior?
Yeah.
They're all real people.
Ah.
Well, they're all. Well, I don't know if they're real people, but they're real figures in like Taoism or whatever.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, so a lot of Jackie Chan's kung fu, a lot of his style is based around them.
Huh.
Yeah, and so he basically, the Monkey King the movie is basically about him trying to like gain acceptance from the immortals, and he takes on a girl who's his assistant as he attempts these feats, and they're kind of similar to like the Hercules labors, kind of. He died, and he eventually there's a whole thing of there's a big a plot point of she's secretly like working for the bad guy to try to like get something for the village or whatever, and it basically explains how remember how I said he was under the rock. Well, he was trapped under the rock because he tried to start a war against heaven, and that's basically this movie is about all the events that lead up to that.
So he's kind of their Lucifer.
Sort of, kind of more chaotic than that, though.
That's saying something because Lucifer's pretty chaotic.
Yeah, like that's his whole thing. His whole thing is he's just at least that's kind of how that movie represents him. Is like he's not really a good guy or a bad guy. He's just they presents him as being like really arrogant. And then I guess
Loki, Chinese Loki.
Yeah, I guess Chinese Loki maybe would be a better better comparison. And they're both all right. The show's really old and like it's like anime from China, so it's like it's really cheap, like really cheap. And then yeah, so then that's one half of what Dragon Ball is based on. The other half is a movie called Drunken Master. And I watched both of them. I watched Drunken Master 1 and 2. And my history with the Drunken Master is the first time I watched it, it was a Blu-ray call, or I think maybe it might have been a DVD called Legend of Drunken Master. And I watched it, and I got confused because I was like, this feels like a sequel to a movie I never saw. It was just one of those movies. And I'm watching it.
And it was.
And I was like, oh, it was. So this time I watched, which I hadn't seen, I watched the first Drunken Master.
The drunkard with internal strength.
And it's quite good. It's Jackie Chan's second movie, so he's really quite young. And it doesn't really have a plot. Like, it has a story, which the story is it's about Jackie Chan learning the drunken boxing technique. But, like, overall, it doesn't really have a plot. He's a young guy who is the son of a martial arts master. And the movie is really a series of vignettes of him getting into shenanigans and into trouble. So, like, he starts a fight with his karate or his dad's martial arts instructor. He gets frisky with a young girl in the marketplace who turns out to be his cousin.
Awkward.
He gets into a fight with this. He beats up the son of a local like rich guy. And they're all really solid. They're super fast. Like, I mean, I cannot say enough of how just good Jackie Chan is, especially young Jackie Chan. Like, he is so fast. And, like...
Okay.
In the 70s, like, you can't fake what he's doing. Like, the amount of skill and, like I say, technique involved in what he has to do. What's funny, though, to me is, I don't know if, like, part of Kung Fu is that you have to, like, announce every one of your moves. We're like, striking crane, bend downwards, like, after every move. But yeah, it's... Sorry, go on.
I was going to say... when I think Kung Fu, it's definitely a thing where there are certain people who they are synonymous with the Kung Fu movie genre. Jackie Chan is one of those people.
Oh, for sure.
Like, you think Jackie Chan, and I think all of his crazy stunts that he does and the Kung Fu that he does.
But so it's funny because so yeah, this first one is really just a series of him getting in trouble. Eventually, he gets put under the care of this master who's really tough. He's so bad. He trains people too hard, so they die. And he trains him and teaches him the drunken boxing technique, which is a sort of amalgamation of the, like, 8 drunken immortals. And, yeah, he beats the bad guy. And it's really just about him learning drunken boxing. You don't really have to see it to enjoy the second one. Like, the second one's also good. And, yeah, again... There's more of a story. You find out that the dad doesn't like drunken boxing because he said no one has ever mastered drunken boxing without becoming a full-bore alcoholic. It's the only way to obtain your true power, and everyone who does it just ends up becoming an alcoholic.
A filthy drunk.
Just a filthy drunk. Yeah, Jackie Chan's dad just beats him up a lot. Just a lot. Yeah, they're very good movies. They're very fun. If you like just good choreographed fight sequences, it's definitely one of those ones where it's just really, really good. He is. I think there's one scene where you see him, he's just shredded.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah, he is.
I mean, Jackie Chan is still in fantastic shape, and he's like 60-something years old.
Yeah, incredible. One of his best performances. I think that's it. That's it for Rapid Fire, Jordan. That is the foundation of Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball.
Gotta get
those dragon. Anyway,
Hey everybody, it's Endcard Justin here again. Let me know down in the comments, have you seen any of these movies? Have you seen Drunken Master? Are you familiar with Journey at the West at all? How much of this Chinese mythology did I mess up? How many pronunciations did we get wrong? Correct us in the comments down below. Otherwise, you can click the video on the left, and that's going to take you to the full episode that this podcast is from, where we talked about all kinds of Kung Fu movies, some Bruce Lee movies, some Jet Li movies, some Jackie Chan movies, all sorts of martial arts based movies. Or you click the box on the right, and that's going to take you to a random video that YouTube thinks you're going to enjoy. Otherwise, hit like and hit subscribe if you haven't already, and have a good day, everybody.